One of the things I want to talk about right now, you just mentioned all the amazing businesses you'd worked with. I want to talk about talent and how you think about attracting, pipelining, hiring, retaining great employees. So you and I both subscribe to the same mindset. I believe it's from the content that you've put out there and from having conversations that talent and hiring is the number one priority for every business and should be for every single hiring manager as the CEO of that hiring process. So always be pipelining, even and especially when you're not hiring, so you can get rock stars in your team, regardless of having readily available headcount or budget. Regardless of having those things open. So let's break those things down: attract, pipeline, hire, and retain. You talk about in some of your content. I think it was an Entrepreneur.com article. You talk about not just thinking about sales and marketing from an inbound perspective, but thinking about recruiting, hiring, and attracting talent from an inbound perspective. Can you talk a little bit about that mindset and how you apply that to the way that you hire talent?
Sure. Yeah. So I think the reality is, and the way I think kind of about recruiting is, most people that are actively looking for a job are actively looking because they're probably not good at their job. And that's like the reality. And people that are good at their job, they don't look for jobs. Like, they're constantly kind of, they're working hard. They're doing a great job for the company that they're at. And it's like businesses that intrigue them that they might want to speak to. So, the kind of, I'm at a loss for words for the exact like word that I described this. And I did a talk on this once at a big HR conference in Singapore. But it's like you've got people that are like actively in the process, and then you've got your like inactive folks. And your active folks make up something like 10% of the pool, and inactive or like kind of dormant candidates, which again, that's not the right word for it, but
Passive.
make up like 90% of your passive candidates are making up like, they're the best candidates, but they're not the ones coming to job boards and looking for you. And so you really need to be focused on how do you attract them. And so I'm a really big believer in for really key talent, you need to be proactively meeting and building relationships and learning about people and what they're doing and working on. And so I probably do, I interview about, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 people a week, sometimes for roles that I don't even have opened. And when I say interview, that's a very loose term. It's more so 50% of those might be official interviews. 50% of them are literally just coffee catch-ups where I've sent a note to, let's say, the head of PR at a big marketplace. I won't say this because I have spoken to someone recently in that space. And I'm like, hey, I absolutely love the PR that you're doing at your company. Like, I read a few of these stories and they're fascinating. Would love to just sync up marketer to marketer and like see if we could learn from each other and just, chat. And I genuinely actually do just want to like get to know these people and learn about them. And all of the best hires I've ever made have been passive candidates, because it's based off of their work, not like them being actively in the cycle. So whenever I see like a great company running a great campaign, I'll look at like, okay, who runs campaigns at that company? And I'll then like, stalk them on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and slide into their DMs and work out a way to meet with them because, I'm genuinely interested in their craft. And it's not a sales pitch because I am genuinely interested. And so they can see that and they get it. And that's sort of how I open up. That's how I like to fill the funnel right now. That's not to say I don't work with like a recruiter. I have like a recruiter here at G2 that's constantly hiring roles for me. But most of like my director and above level roles, I rarely hire, not because I choose to, but I find that most people that I will hire at director or VP level will be folks that I have found myself. Because I think that if you're a passive candidate, and, I get emails all the time from recruiters, and I am passive in that I'm not looking for a new job, but I rarely respond to them. But if a CMO or a CEO at another company that I was really interested in reached out and said, hey, love what you've been doing at G2 and how you've completely changed the brand and how you've grown traffic, and I listened to you on a podcast, would love to catch up. That's something that I'm like, YOLO, like I want to like meet other smart folks. And I like to hear that the things that I'm doing are getting noticed selfishly. And so, so that sort of thing, that works. And so that's how I think about kind of like recruiting. I'm pretty process oriented. I mean, if it's when I'm going after a candidate, a passive candidate, I'm a little less process driven because it's very much like I'm just looking for great people out there. When I'm in a director level or below interview, when someone's like in our active recruiting cycle, and whether or not like we've found them or they've found us, I kind of use a bit of like a case-based method for how I interview. So I kind of basically like start off the interview like where I want to learn a bit more about them, but then I ask them a pretty simple question of what were you brought into your company to impact? And so this just helps me really quickly like understand if they give me a really long kind of answer or they can't answer that, like it just shows me that they don't really know what they or their role is within a company. So I'll ask them that to kind of understand. So if I can, if someone asked me that at G2, I'd say, well, I was brought into G2 to drive more sales revenue, increase our brand, and drive more traffic.
Yep.
And then I then follow with like a specific task. So I ask them like, can you please describe like the task or the challenge or the project or the problem that you were brought in to solve? So they might say, well, I was brought in to increase our MQL to, SQL conversion rate or blah, blah, blah. And then I kind of like will then ask them, okay, like whatever they say there, I'll ask them, how did you measure your success on that thing? And then they might say, and this is like the worst response ever, they might say, like I wish I could measure it, but my company doesn't really care to measure those things. And then I would kind of dig in further of like, oh, okay, that's okay. Like, let's say your company did measure things. How would you want them to be measured? And that way I can work out, like, is their brain thinking about measurement the right way? And then after I kind of understand the measurability component, I then go into action. So like, what projects or tasks did you specifically work on to reach success? And what that helps me understand is like, did they actually do the job? Right. Because, companies have lots of successes.
Right.
We as a marketing team have done a ton of success, and we talk about it as a team. So it would be easy for someone to kind of take ownership or pretend that they drove the success of the team or something else. So this actions thing is important to me because it helps me understand, like from start to finish, like what was their involvement? Did they partner with someone? Where did the idea come from? Did they hit roadblocks? That's kind of really key. And then I'll ask them, what results were actually achieved? And then I'll kind of go into time frame. So how long did it take to get here? And, scale around what would they maybe do differently or would they do it again or not? And so that's just like really quickly at a high level, kind of the case sort of flow I like to go through when I'm interviewing a candidate that has a, core set of skills that I'm trying to get deep into and understand how they think. Separate to that, though, I think like for me, I really care about people that are data driven, growth focused. So that they have experience in growing things, and the data stuff, the growth stuff, that will come through in this kind of case method that I use. I want people that are lifelong learners, that are obsessed with. If you want to work on my team and you aren't on social media and you aren't obsessed with how ads work and how tracking works and how digital works, like this isn't the right team for you. So I can tell from a lot of their online presences already whether or not they're probably going to be right for me. And that's kind of high level how I think about the actual like nitty gritty process of it. And then when it comes to retention and like growing employees, I have a pretty kind of like direct approach where like I connect with most people on the team every other month. I connect with obviously all my direct reports every week, but I try and, encourage them to really understand that transparency is the most important thing to me. And I try and mirror that to them. And by being really transparent with them and sharing with them, what I am working on, what I'm finding challenging, why I can't do what someone has asked me to do, and why I'm giving them the logic. And I think today with employees, they crave to understand why you as a leader make the decisions you make. I think, for a long time, leadership decisions were made, behind closed doors and people were just told what to do. And I think, Gen Ys and most employees, I think now just in today's workforce kind of want to be involved and want to be able to share their opinion. And I'm really encouraging of that. But I also explain that this isn't a democracy. And I want everyone to share their opinion so that I can make the best decision. And I might make a decision that's different to what you want, but that doesn't mean that I won't listen to you and respect your opinion, but I have to make a decision at the end of the day. And I might have a broader perspective than you because I'm getting all of your input and then I have all the input from my job and being on a leadership team that you may not have. So yeah, that's kind of really quickly, I guess, how I think about recruiting, like interviewing, and then kind of developing and retaining employees.
That was great. You did my job for me. I mean, all the way down to the method and the process you use, some of the questions you asked, the examples you gave. I really like what you said around the vulnerability and transparency of communication, openness to communication within your team. You write about that and some of the things you write about making sure that people can feel
and I really think, I think I can always keep doing a better job. Like, this is something that I need to work on. And partly it's something that I've needed to really focus on consciously is because it's so different than my style a few years ago. And I think that's part of through a lot of therapy and a lot of like my own work. I've realized that some of those defenses that I used to have as a child that were helpful then weren't helpful as an adult and as a leader in business. And so I've had to develop there further. But I think like it was, this is just a bit of not a sad story, but, I had a colleague yesterday who I love. They're on my team. They're amazing. Who we were meeting for a one-on-one, and they texted me and they said, let's see if I have the message. It was like, what is it? It was like, here it is. Hey, it was basically like, long story short, it was like, hey, Ryan, I'm really sorry. I'm not going to be able to make our one-on-one right now. I think I'm having a panic attack, and I might head home. And naturally I was like, please, do what you need to do for it, take care of yourself. And I don't think an employee would have sent that to me previously. They might have said, I'm out sick or something.
Right.
But, I have said to my employees in the past, like over Slack, like when I was having an anxiety attack at some point, I just canceled all my meetings that day and took a mental health day pretty publicly, and was like, I'm out today, guys. I'm taking a mental health day. And I was in the office and I had to go home because I just wasn't feeling it. And the amount of people that texted me after that to say like that they appreciated me being so public with that kind of helped them feel like they could bring their whole selves to work. And if they are feeling similarly, they don't need to lie about how they feel. They can just be open. And not to say that they have to, but I think, again, it's all about sort of, living it yourself and showing others that they can do the same thing.
Totally. Setting the standard, demonstrating the standard so that you can hold the standard. I talked to someone about culture the other day, and I believe it's the exact same thing with mental health in the workplace and openness of communication. That's a really good example. Thanks for sharing that. And you keep that openness from a retention perspective. I think the openness that you keep with the way that you talk to your employees and the way that you talk to your teams it sounds like from the way that you're writing. The example here, I read an article that you'd written the other day. I read the other day that you'd written talking about encouraging your best employees to consider outside job offers and having that very open dialogue and open discussion. Can you talk a little bit about that mindset and what that means to you?
Yeah, sure. So I think part of it is that, too many leaders and people in business tiptoe around the idea that, people are going to work with a company forever, right? And I think the reality is that that the average lifespan of a marketer at a company is, 2 years maybe. And so look at my track record, it's like 3 years on average.
I read the other day something like those coming out of college right now are poised to have something like 13.2 employers throughout their life.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm really open with people because if you look at my track record, I have done the same. And so what I really want to encourage people to do is, like, if someone reaches out to you for a job offer because they think you're a good fit for a role, you should respond. I mean, assuming you want to, you don't have to, but you should. And I do this. I would always respond to them. So recruiters hit me up all the time. They'll be like, hey, Ryan, I have a CMO role or CEO role at this super sexy high growth company, blah, blah, blah. My first message back, like, I have no niceties. I'm like, thanks for your message. What is the company? Because that's all I care about, right? Like, who is the company that we're talking about? Because there's heaps of roles out there, but, I don't want to work for anyone. And so once they tell me who the company is, then if it's an interesting company, I might, chat to them or the leadership team to learn a bit more. And I think why that's important is because it helps me solidify to myself if I am in the right role myself, by chatting to someone else and seeing what other roles are available. And by asking questions, I can work out like, oh gosh, like, no, in my role today, wow, I'm so much happier. But it also helps me have a baseline understanding of, what roles are out there, what are the typical skill sets that are needed, how much are people paying for my skill set, which helps give me visibility into, like, do I need to be asking for more money at my current company or am I paid fairly? And so I think if you treat your employees really, really well, and be open and honest with them in that, like, they're not probably going to work for you forever and that you want the best for them in their career, because you understand that they'll then be an advocate for you and your company afterwards, they're a little bit more open about these things. And so, I kind of just do that with my team and I practice what I preach. And so it kind of means that encourages folks to feel open about, like, they can come to us and say, hey, I have this job over from this company. I don't necessarily want to leave, but they're offering me double what you guys are offering me. And if this is an employee that's amazing that, like, we couldn't do without them, we'll try and do whatever we can to keep them. And that might mean more responsibilities if they've shown that they deserve it. It might mean more pay. It depends on why the person's making the decision, right? And that's case kind of by case. But I think you can get a better understanding of that and help them see also as well by asking them questions about the role and the company. I oftentimes find that, like, I will uncover things that they don't know or haven't realized. Like, they haven't asked, like, how much budget they might have or who their boss is going to be, or, if they were told that they could run a team, but, like, is it going to be in writing that they will get to run the team. And just these things that like they haven't asked. And like they start to then realize, holy shit, I have so much more potential and bandwidth here on Ryan's team. Yes, the grass might seem greener on the other side because they're offering more money, but there's a reason why they're offering more money. It's because they can't get good talent. So I don't know. And by doing that, they may realize that, yep, they should leave or not. And so, I think I preface always these conversations with my team with a bit of an asterisk in the sense of that, like, you might go through that process and come to us and say that there is this offer that you're going to take. We might say to you, if we don't feel like you are contributing well on the team or you're not someone that we want to change the situation for, like, you should take the role. Yeah. No, exactly. And so, like,
that's best case scenario for everybody too. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. You should take that role, like, because we think that you are paid fairly. And, as per your last performance review, we've made it pretty clear to you in terms of what you would need to do to get to the next level. And you haven't done that yet. So, we're happy for you to stay here and keep developing you. But if it's money that you want, you're not going to get that here until you put in the work that we've shown you. And I think just from having that dialogue, they can better understand like how much more quality coaching and development they're going to get with you than at another company. And they can then make their own decisions. So that's how I try and think about it.